All right, so we are grading, spot checking our packet that was assigned on Tuesday and was due today. So in this first section here, we are getting the y by itself, or we're solving for y, and then we are stating the slope and the y-intercept. Jalen, what's my first move here? Now keep in mind, let me write it right here. Our goal is y equals mx plus b. So we got to move whatever we have to move to get everything on the right side. So what's the first thing you want me to do? Okay, so we're going to do a plus 6x and a plus 6x. That's good. And right now that leaves me 0 over here, and that's okay. 2y plus 6x plus 2. All right, now what? What side do I want my y on? Bless you. Yep, so what do I got to do to move it over there? It's plus 2y right now. It's plus 2y, so I want to do minus 2y, right? So we're going to put minus 2y over here. Now, I already had 0 on that side. Now I'm going to put that negative 2y over here as well. I don't have to put plus 0 because it's just kind of doesn't need to be there. And then over here, I've got 6x plus 2. Now, if you guys did that in a different order, if you moved the 2y first and then moved the 6x, it's fine. You still should get to negative 2y equals 6x plus 2. Now, what are we going to divide off? I want to get y by itself. What's attached to it? A negative 2. And how's it attached? Okay, so what am I going to do the opposite of multiplication? Excellent. Divide by negative 2. What I do for one, I do for all. And so I get y equals, what is 6 divided by negative 2? Negative 3x. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, so my m is, Montana, what's my m? I wouldn't want to interrupt your stretch. That's important. Very good. Almost. Positive 3 or negative 3? Negative 3. Negative 3. And Bryce, what's my b? 1. Excellent. Very good. All right. Corbin, what's my first move here? Good. I'm going to subtract 2x and subtract 2x. That's going to leave behind a negative y over here. What am I going to write first on the right side? Good. Negative 2x minus 5. And then what? Divide by a negative 1, by a negative 1, by a negative 1. And that changes the sign of everything. So I get a negative and a negative goes positive, and a negative and a negative goes positive. Good. And Jalen, what's my m? 2. And Montana, what's my b? 5. All right. Atticus, I'll take it easy on you today, and then next week I'll start calling on you as well. Okay, I don't want to put you on the spot since you weren't here when we did this packet. Okay, any questions on the first 6? That's just practicing, getting everything moved around side to side, placing it where we want it in the right order so that we get to y equals mx plus b, because that's our goal. All right, so now we had to sketch the graph. And these first couple were already in y equals mx plus b. So remember, just as a quick reminder, y equals mx plus b. And when it's in that form, the m is the slope, and that tells you how to move. And the b is the y-intercept. And that tells you where to begin, or where to put your beginning point. So in this particular problem, y equals 2/3 x plus b. Your b here is the 2, and your m, or your slope, is the 2/3. Okay? So we begin at the beginning point, and this is the y-intercept right here, and this is the y-axis. So on the y-axis, we put a point right at the 2, the positive 2. And then the m tells us to move positive 2 moves, 1, 2, and then positive 3 moves, 1, 2, 3. And so that puts us right here. We could also go negative, negative, because that keeps it positive, right? We could go negative 2 and backwards 3, and you'll notice it still puts us on that same line. And so then we draw a line through our points, and the quick check, positive slope, lines running uphill, so we did it right. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to have you guys tell me what to do first. Bryce, what's the first thing I'm going to do here? On the y-intercept, right? So here's my y-intercept. So I'm going to put a point at negative 2. And then Montana, what am I going to do from there? I begin with my b, and then I move with my slope. Okay. Excellent. I went down 2 and to the right 1 because my slope, remember, any whole number is really over 1. And so my slope is negative 2 over 1. So then I draw my line, and my quick check is negative slope, right? Negative 2, running downhill. I'm good. All right. For number 9, before we can start graphing it, we have to get it in y equals mx plus b, right? We have to do a little bit of moving to get it ready to graph so that we can then graph the m and graph the b and then move with our m. So, Corbin, what's my first move here to get this in y equals mx plus b? From both sides, and when I do that, I get left 2y equals negative 3x plus 8. All right, now what? All the way across the board, right? So we get y equals negative 3 halves x plus 4. All right, Jalen, where am I going to start now? I'm in y equals mx plus b. Now I'm ready to graph. Remember, in y equals mx plus b, your b is always your beginning point. And so here, my beginning point is what? Okay, and that's my y-axis, right? This, I don't know why this thing won't let me highlight, but I really wish it would. It never lets me. It's very sad. Anyway, this right here is my y-axis. Right along here, right? This is my y-axis. So on that y-axis, I'm going to put a point where? Right here at the positive 4, right? Positive 4. And then, Bryce, what's next?
And then you go down 3, right 2.
Good. Down 3, right 2. That's a negative and a positive move. And I put a point where that tells me to move to. And then I draw my line. And what's my quick check? Good. Negative slope. I'm going downhill, so I'm good. All right. For number 10, I'm going to do something a little different rather than working it all, because for those at home, I want them to work through these on their own. So I'm going to throw the answers up here, but of course, if you turn in an assignment with just answers and no work, you don't get credit. So for those of you at home, it will not do you any good to copy just the answer, because if you don't have the work that goes with it, you don't get the credit anyway. So let's open this from our computer. Okay, so now let's open from our Google Drive and see if it's not there. There it is. That's what we want. So we worked, we worked 9 and 10 together. So for 11 and 12, I want you to just check your line. See if your line is correct. And then if your line is correct, then we will go on. But if your line isn't correct and you want me to work it, I just need you to let me know. For number 11, you would have moved the -4 and the -3x over to the right. You would have moved the 2y over to the left. Then you would have divided by 2 and got it in y equals mx plus b. Does anybody need to see that one worked? Your b should end up being a 2, and your slope should end up being, what, -3/2? Is that right? Okay. For number 12, you would have moved the 4 over to the right, the 2y over to the left, divided everything by -2. Your intercept would be a 2, and your slope should be -1. Yes. Okay, let's walk through it then. So for number 12, the first thing that we would do is let's move the 2y over here because we eventually want our y on the left. So that gives us -2y plus 4 equals, and that's gone. So now the only thing over here is the 2x. And then we want to subtract the 4 because we want to get all of our plain old numbers over to the right. And so that leaves us -2y equals 2x minus 4. And then we're going to divide by a -2 all the way across the board. And when we do that, we get y equals a 2 divided by a -2 is a -1. And then a -4 divided by a -2 is a +2. And so our b is +2, and that's why we would start here. And then our -1 over 1 would be drop 1 over 1, drop 1 over 1, and so on and so on. That help?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that one? Yes.
So the reason I got it wrong is because I did 2x plus 2y equals 4 instead of 4 equals 2x plus 2y, and then I didn't put the 1 over the -1x.
Okay, gotcha. So do you see what you do? I mean, does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, moving on. Again, same thing. I'm just going to show you the graph. If you have any questions, we'll work through it. If you don't have any questions and you got it right, then we won't work through it. And that way everybody at home has an opportunity to work through it and show all their work and get all their good credit. So let's see. Number 13 and 14. Here's the graphs for those. For number 13, you got to do a little bit of work. You got to move things around. You got to get y by itself. And then your b should be -5, and your slope should be up, what, -1? No, -2/3. And then on number 4, it's already in y equals mx plus b. These are the nice easy ones where you just start with your beginning b, and then you use your m to move. Okay? Now, this is one, if it confused you, because it's the slope when you put your b here, right? Your slope is up 6/5. Well, when I try to go up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, I run out of graph. I can't go up 6. But if we remember that a negative is the same as a positive, we can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then because we went down, we also need to go backwards because we need to do negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how you get your move. So if you can't go up and over, remember that you can go down and backwards, and it still keeps it on that uphill slant. Okay? All right. Any questions on that one? All right. Number 15. Oops. Let's see where you saw that junk too. All right. Number 15, same thing. You have to do a little moving, a little adjusting, a little getting stuff in the right spot. But that's what your line should look like when you're done. And then number 16, a lot of moving. Got to divide off that negative. You end up with a negative slope. Any questions on those two? Jalen, you doing all right? Either one of those you need to see worked? Or are you good? All right. Oh, you're going to finish them, right, Montana? All right. Number 17 and 18. We go back to some easy ones here. They're already in y equals mx plus b. So you just have to start with the b. Use your m to move. Okay, start with the B, use your end to move. Either a question on either one of those? All right. 19, had to do a little bit of moving, not much, but you did have to subtract x from both sides. And number 20, already in y equals mx plus b. So just graph your b and then move your 3/5 to move, or use your 3/5 to move. Any questions on those? All right, like I said, for those of you at home, the ones that we did not work through, you need to show your work, you need to graph your points, you need to show, like on number 19, you need to show what you move, how you get it in y equals mx plus b. If you turn it in with just the lines graphed, you get no credit. So make sure that you get all your credit for your work. All right, if you have any questions at home, let me know. There are 2 Khan Academies that are assigned that you need to log into Khan Academy and work through. Let me know if you have any questions.